大家好 Welcome back to Edupedia World Videos. We are now at lesson 23, where we're talking about eating Beijing Roast Duck. Alright, the lesson outline is pretty straightforward. It is to tell you how to learn. It is to let you know how to eat Beijing Roast Duck. There's certain techniques and the way to fold the Beijing Roast Duck in. But the main objective of this lesson is to show you how we can talk about our food culture. Alright, so in this lesson you'll be exposed to vocabularies such as eating and using some verbs to do certain things, so you know how to handle some food items. So in these two lessons, we will discover the food culture in China. Alright, so before you begin, make sure you have your lunch or make sure you have your meal already, because otherwise you'll feel hungry when you are attending these two lessons. Alright? I hope you are excited now because we're going to talk about food, so let's get started. So the dialogue involves Zhang and Susan. In Mandarin is 小张和苏珊的对话. Alright, so imagine Zhang and Susan, they are in a restaurant. They are talking about eating Beijing roast duck. So 小张 first starts the conversation. He says, "Have a taste. This is the authentic Beijing roast duck." 小张说，尝一尝，这是正宗的北京烤鸭。Susan asks, "How to eat it?" 苏珊问，怎么个吃法？ And 小张 responds, "Take a sheet of the thin pancakes first, put slices of roast duck inside." 小张说，先拿一张薄饼，把鸭片放在里面。Alright, let's pause the conversation for now because we have quite a few new words here, and let's look at them individually. So let's decipher the title of the conversation first. It is a dialogue between Zhang and Susan. In Mandarin, it is 小张和苏珊的对话. Alright, so let's start with Su. Alright, that's the new word there. So Su is used in names and usually the last name or family name. Alright, this is the pinyin Su, and the radical is this one. What's on top there? So the arrangement is vertical. Let's look at how to write Su. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7. 7 strokes for this word, Su. The next word is shan. Shan is usually used in words like coral, but when you just say shan in its own, it doesn't really mean anything but the names, okay? But shan, it is commonly used in the words like coral, okay? This is the pinyin shan, and the radical is this one. What's on the left there? And the arrangement is horizontal because you have left and right components. Let's look at how to write shan. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9. 9 strokes for this word, shan. Alright, so you know how to say Susan in Chinese. It is Su Shan. Okay? And the whole sentence, 小张和苏珊的对话, is just to say Zhang and Susan's dialogue. Alright? And 小张, you have learned both words individually, and zhang, if you remember, it is used in quantifier for sheets of paper, but this word is a common last name or family name for Chinese. So sometimes you will hear some people with names starting with zhang, and that way you know it is this word usually. Alright? Of course, there are some other Chinese surname with the pronunciation zhang, but with different word. But this word is the most common one, zhang. And as I said, 小张 is a way of saying someone's name. Some Chinese would call themselves 小, means little, and then followed by the last name. Alright, so we have covered this quite a number of times, so there shouldn't be any problem for you. Let's look at the individual dialogue now. So 小张 starts with have a taste, and then the rest of the sentence, which will be covered in the next slide. So in Mandarin, he said 尝一尝. Okay, so that's one new word here. Let's look at it. So 尝 means try and taste. Okay, so if you want something to 尝, if you want someone to 尝, which is asking the person to take a sample of the food, have a taste. In other words, you are inviting the person to try the food. Okay? So this word is usually related to try, and sometimes it means to taste something. Okay? This is the pinyin, cháng, and the radical is this one. What's on top there? The arrangement is vertical because you have top and bottom components here. Let's look at how to write cháng. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 strokes for this word, cháng. Okay, to say 尝一尝 is like try one try, but in another words, it's mean to try, have a taste. Okay, so in another words, you are asking someone to do something. It is similar to the 看看 that you have learned before, which is the shorter version of 看一看, which means like have a look. And for 尝一尝, it works the similar way. Alright? This kind of grammar structure is usually inviting someone to do something. Alright? We'll cover more of this in the future. So, 小张 continues with, this is the authentic Beijing Roast Duck. 这是正宗的北京烤鸭. Alright? So there are a few new words there. So there are a few new words here. Let's look at them one by one. The first one is 宗. 宗 means ancestry. Okay. Usually it relates to the older generations. Okay, within your own family members. Alright. This is the pinyin 宗, and the radical is this one. What's on top there? And the arrangement is vertical because you have top and bottom components. Let's look at how to write 宗. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 strokes for this word, 宗. I'll explain to you why we are using this word when I'm explaining the whole sentence. But for now, let's look at the other new words. The other one is 烤. 烤 means to roast, and Sometimes it can be interchangeably used with bake, but in this context, we are using roast. This is the pinyin, 烤, and the radical is this one, what's on the left there. The arrangement is horizontal because you have left and right components. Let's look at how to write 烤. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10. 10 strokes for this word, 烤. The next word is 鸭. 鸭 means duck, and this is the pinyin 鸭, and the radical is this one, what's on the right there. So the arrangement is horizontal because you have left and right components here. For this radical, it means bird. Okay, as you imagine, duck is a bird, so that's why this radical is being used in this context. Alright, let's look at how to write 鸭. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10. Alright, 10 strokes for this word, 鸭. So 烤鸭 is very straightforward. It's just to say roast duck. Okay, let's look at the whole sentence. 这是正宗的北京烤鸭. So 这是, it is very straightforward. It is, this is 正宗, it means authentic. You have learned 正 as in square or continuing action, but it also means the actual thing. So usually it's used with 真, which means real or authentic, to say 真正, which means real or true or authentic. So 宗 means ancestry. So 正宗, it has the meaning of conveying that this recipe is being passed on generations by generations. So it is the authentic version. It is not added by some other influence. So 正宗, it has the meaning of passing down one recipe in exact through generations by generations, through the ancestry. Alright, so that's why it has the meaning of authentic. And Beijing 烤鸭, so as I said, Beijing is Beijing and 烤鸭 is roast duck, so it should be very straightforward. So the whole sentence, 这是正宗的北京烤鸭, should be very straightforward. Is to say, this is authentic Beijing roast duck. Alright, so let's see what Susan has to say. She asks how to eat it. Okay, in other words, in Mandarin, it is 怎么个吃法? Okay, you have learned the individual words, but there are new usage here, and the grammar structure is slightly different from what you have learned. So you have learned 怎么 means how, and in short, you might want to ask 怎么吃, which is to how eat, and in other words, it means how to eat. But we are putting some new usage of words that you have learned. So you have learned 法 as in 法国, which means France, but when it's pronounced as 法, it means method. Okay, so 吃法, it means eating method. Alright, like the way to eat it. Okay, and 吃法 is 吃法 is a noun, so that's why you need to have a quantifier in front, and the quantifier is 个. Okay, 个 is quite a universal quantifier. It can be used on persons, and you can use it on methods. So 怎么个吃法 is to say how the eating method is. Okay, it sounds weird, but this kind of grammar structure, we hardly ever use it, but sometimes you hear people using this one. And of course, if you want to say 怎么吃, it is acceptable, but sometimes when you want to elong the sentence, you can say 怎么个吃法. It is to ask like, what's the eating method, or how's the eating method. Alright, so you have learned the new usage of words like 法 in this context. Alright, let's see how Zhang answers. He says, take a sheet of the thin pancakes first. In Mandarin, it is 先拿一张薄饼. Alright, so let's look at the new word here. There are quite a few of them. So 拿 means take. Okay, this action is referring to you grabbing one item and lift it up. Okay, so sometimes you want to use it as take a bag. It means you can use this word as you are saying take a bag or take something. Alright, take something and then leave, that kind of context. But it is not used in, let's say, take a bus. Okay, it is another word as you have learned before. So this is the pinyin 拿, and the radical is this one. What's at the bottom there? The arrangement is vertical because you have top and bottom components. Let's look at how to write 拿. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, 10 strokes for this word, 拿. Let's look at the next few words. Another new word is thin, 薄. Okay, it means thin as I said, and this is the pinyin 薄, and then the radical is this word, what's on top there, and the arrangement is complex because you have top and bottom component. For the bottom component, you have left and right component, and for the right component, you have top and bottom component. So this word is quite complex. Alright, let's look at how to write 薄. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16. 16 strokes for this rather complicated word, 薄. The next word is 饼. 饼 means biscuits or cookies, but when combined with 薄饼, it means thin pancakes. Okay, for some words it may be different in different contexts, but when you ask for a piece of 饼, it means biscuits or cookies. Alright, but just in this context, 薄饼, it means a thin pancake that is used in eating with Beijing Roast Duck. Okay, so this is the pinyin 饼, and the radical is this one, what's on the left there, and the arrangement is horizontal because you have left and right components. Let's look at how to write 饼. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9. 9 strokes for this word, 饼. Alright, so to say 先拿一张薄饼, in direct translation it's first take a sheet of thin pancake. Okay, you have learned the individual word, like 先拿 is like first take, and then 一张 is a sheet of, because you have learned 张, it is the quantifier for sheets of paper, but it's also used in food items because you can imagine that a thin pancake is as thin as a paper, so that's why it's okay to also use this quantifier in this context. Okay, 薄饼, as I said, it may mean thin biscuit, but in English we would call that food item as thin pancakes. So now you understand that when eating Beijing Roast Duck, you'll be presented with a number of food items, and one is 薄饼. Alright? And then that's the reason why Susan is asking how to eat it, because it's like you are presented with pancakes and scallions, the sauce, and of course the roast duck slices itself, but to outsiders you may not know what to do with this. So that's why Zhang is telling Susan how to eat the pancake and the roast duck. Alright, let's see what he continues next. And he says, put slices of roast duck in slide. In Mandarin is 把鸭片放在里面. Okay, quite a few new words here, so let's look at them. The first one is 片. 片 is a quantifier for slices of things, and sometimes it means piece. Okay, so to say 鸭片, it is to say slices of roast duck. Okay, in this context it is used as a noun. Okay, this is the pinyin 片, and the radical is this one, which is itself, so the arrangement is simple. Let's look at how to write 片. 1、2、3、4. Okay, just 4 strokes for this word, 片. In other words, it's 放. Okay, 放 means put, like putting down something, like putting down an item. Okay, and I'll explain why I use this in this context. It should be straightforward. This is the pinyin 放, and the radical is this one, what's on the left there. So the arrangement is horizontal because you have left and right components here. Let's look at how to write 放. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8. Okay, 8 strokes for this word, 放. Okay, let's look at the whole sentence. 把鸦片放在里面. So, 把鸦片, as I've told you, it means the slices of roast duck being acted upon. And then 放在里面 is to put. 鸦片 means slices of roast duck, and 鸭 is duck, and 片 means slice, so duck slice, in other words, it means slices of roast duck. Alright? 放在里面, it means to put something inside. So the whole sentence 把鸦片放在里面 is to say to put slices of roast duck inside. Okay? And we use the word 把 here to emphasize the noun 鸦片, which means slices of roast duck. Okay, so that's the end of the conversation. Of course, there are more instructions when it comes to eating a roast duck, but for now, let's pause it for now because you have learned quite a few new words here. So here is the slide of all the words that you have learned in this lesson. You have learned names like Susan and Zhang. Zhang not only to say quantifier, but is used as a family name. And then verbs such as take, put, and roast. And for take and put, they are quite a common words to use in Chinese. So please take note of that and identify which one it is on top of this slide. And you have also learned some nouns like duck, biscuit, ancestry, and then the adjectives such as thin and authentic. Okay, so when you are out there and then you're trying to say that something is authentic, you know how to say that word. Okay, and finally you learn a quantifier for slices or pieces. Alright, so the next lesson is going to be continuing on what Zhang has said, because he has further instructions on how to eat the Beijing Roast Duck. We are not done yet. So next lesson, we're gonna finish on that, and then we'll have more interesting stuff coming up. Alright, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. 谢谢，再见。